el cine, se dedicó a producir películas por su cuenta, cortometrajes pero sobre todo dar testimonio de su fe. A un mundo y en un ambiente donde a veces la fe ha quedado lejos y bueno, entre esas primeras obras de Eduardo Verástegui apareció El Circo de la Mariposa. El Circo de la Mariposa fue un cortometraje en donde Verástegui, actuando como director de un circo muy particular, muy especial, se encuentra con el coprotagonista NIck Vujicic. Y es por eso que en aquellos programas pasamos el cortometraje, lo escuchamos en algunos pequeños testimonios a Nick, pero nunca como lo vamos a hacer en el encuentro de hoy. En este encuentro vamos a aprovechar la vida de este hombre que ha sido una vida que se ha brindado, que se ha dado totalmente a los demás desde el sufrimiento. Un hombre, Nick, australiano, que nació hace unos 30 años atrás con una enfermedad inexplicable, una enfermedad que le hizo nacer sin brazos y sin piernas. En uno de sus testimonios dice, por suerte mis padres no supieron esto antes de que yo naciera, porque seguramente los médicos, si lo hubieran sabido, seguramente mi madre, incluso que era partera, hubieran dudado o incluso los médicos aconsejado el aborto. De hecho, eso no sucedió. ¿Y quién podía ser consciente de lo que iba a pasar? ¿Quién podía asegurar que este hombre que nacía sin brazos y piernas iba no solamente a tener una calidad de vida, sino que se iba a convertir en un orador, motivador profesional? Hablando hoy ya a más de 3 millones de personas, habiendo visitado más de 24 países. Bueno, es un testimonio de vida, pero no solamente por el hecho de no haber sido abortado, sino por cómo de los momentos más oscuros se fue levantando. Se fue enfrentando a su propia discapacidad, elevándose por sobre la misma y encontrando fuerzas, indudablemente en la familia, indudablemente en aquellos amigos que lo acompañaron, pero sobre todo en Dios, en nuestro Señor. Nick Vujicic tiene una vida muy particular, ha llegado a Chile el año pasado, no ha venido todavía a la Argentina, ojalá que algún día, a lo mejor algún televidente que nos está escuchando y algunos más nos podamos reunir y lo podamos traer. Nick Vujicic ha dado testimonios impresionantes a lo largo del mundo, pero nosotros hemos seleccionado algunos de ellos y los vamos a compartir con ustedes. Por eso hoy voy a hablar poquito, hoy voy a dejar que sea Nick el que hable con ustedes y ya mismo, para mostrar el sentido del humor de este hombre que es increíble realmente, vamos a pedirle al señor director que nos pase el primer video. Un video donde va a decir, no estoy listo. Muchos no estamos listos a lo mejor incluso hasta para ver lo que va a suceder, pero que continúa diciendo, tengo un mensaje para darles a ustedes, un mensaje de amor. Adelante, señor director, con el primer video.
I wasn't ready. I have no arms and no legs, but I'm very thankful that I have my little chicken drumstick here. People freak out when they see me for the first time. It's so cool. I was at a water slide all by myself. Everyone obviously at the bottom of the slide is looking up and waiting for other people to come down, and here I come and they're freaking out. They're like, you know, like this. And I was so tempted to look at myself and go, what happened? You know? There were times where I sort of looked at my life and thinking, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. And you keep on concentrating on the things that you wish you had or the things that you wish you didn't have. And you sort of forget what you do have. And there's no point, I believe, in my life where I wish I had arms and legs, I wish I had arms and legs, I wish I had arms and legs, because wishing won't help. But in life are just a couple key principles, and the first thing that I've seen is to be thankful. It's hard to be thankful, man. I tell you, when I was 8 years old, I sort of summed up my life and thought, I'm never going to get married. I'm not going to have a job. I'm not going to have a life of purpose. What kind of a husband am I going to be if I can't even hold my wife's hand? It's a lie to think that you're not good enough. It's a lie to think that you're not worth anything. Oh boy. and I can't feel my hand. I love life. You know, so many people come and say, how come you smile so much? And I'm like, well, it's a long story. But it's very simple at the same time. You see, it's very hard to smile sometimes in life. There are things that happen that you don't know and you don't understand, and you don't know if you're going to get through it. You know, you go through your storms in life and you don't know how long this storm is going to be. And today I want to share with you some principles that I've learned in my life that you can use in yours. Being patient is beautiful. I tell you, it's the hardest thing. But I realize I may not have hands to hold my wife's hand, but when the time comes, I'll be able to hold her heart. I don't need hands to hold her heart. You know, it is scary to know how many girls have eating disorders. It is scary to know how many people are just angry at life because of their situation at home and angry at others. It's scary to know how many people actually feel like they're worth nothing. Every single girl right here, right now, I want you to know that you are beautiful. You are gorgeous just the way you are. And you boys, you're the man.
Valga como presentación para todos aquellos que no lo conocían y como recordatorio para aquellos que lo conocemos ya hace tiempo, de NIck Vujicic, este australiano de unos 30 años que se ha dado testimonio a lo largo de todo el mundo a partir de su propia limitación, a partir de una vida que tal vez para muchos hubiera sido condenada antes de nacer y que sin embargo se ha convertido en un testimonio de valorización personal. Tal vez uno de los problemas más graves que tenemos en nuestro tiempo es la desvalorización personal. Una cosa es lo que hacemos entre los demás, una cosa es cuando nos mandamos la parte, una cosa es, y otra es cuando estamos solos frente a un espejo y sentimos que realmente no valemos nada. En esos momentos cuando uno siente que no vale por lo que es, empieza a buscar afuera que alguien lo valore por lo que no es. Y empieza a hacer, decir, pensar como le dicen que tiene que hacer, decir y pensar para ser valorado. Y por lo tanto, poco a poco, empieza a venderse a uno mismo, dejar de ser uno mismo y se deja manipular. Esto que parece pura teoría, hoy en día tiene nombres muy terribles, problemas de alimentación, anorexia, bulimia, adicciones de las más diversas. Son formas, simplemente, manifestaciones de toda una generación que no encuentra el valor de lo que es y por lo tanto va a buscar afuera que lo valoren por lo que no es. Se deja manipular entonces, se deja utilizar y pierde el sentido de la propia existencia. Tal vez por eso cada vez más se acrecienta el suicidio entre los adolescentes, la angustia existencial y tantas otras cosas más. NIck de alguna manera es un grito a la esperanza, es un llamado a la esperanza, y lo vamos a escuchar en una conferencia muy dura, una parte de una conferencia larga, los voy a dejar ahora con ellos durante unos cuantos minutos, donde él toca muchos de estos temas que acabo de introducir, pero no como alguien que lo hace desde una manera teórica, sino como alguien que lo hace desde haberlos vivido uno tras otro en su propia existencia, en su propia persona. Señor director, el segundo video del programa de hoy.
Their abilities, their talents, or simply their smile. When I first met Nick Vujicic, I knew I had just encountered someone extraordinary. From the moment he began to share his amazing story with me, I witnessed firsthand how God is using a man with no arms and no legs to be God's hands and his feet.
My dad was saying that he was, his head was next to my mum's head as I was being born. and he saw my shoulder, and he just went pale. He was hoping my mum didn't see me because he saw that I had no right arm. And my dad had to leave the room, and he couldn't believe what he saw. And the doctor came in, and my dad said, "My son, he has no right arm." And he says, "No, your son has no arms or legs." And he said he nearly fell on the floor. He couldn't believe it. And the whole church was mourning, you know, like, why would God let the pastor's son be born that way? And my mum, at first, she didn't want to hold me. She didn't want to, you know, breastfeed me and all that. She just felt very uncomfortable for the first 4 months. And it took them quite a while before they could trust in God that he didn't make a mistake, that he didn't forget them or me.
Nick's parents gave their fear and even disappointment in their son's disability over to the Lord. They chose to trust God and his promise that he had a plan and purpose, a hope and a future for their son. But as the years passed, Nick, on the other hand, had many challenges trusting in a God that he felt gave him less.
I challenged God. I said, "God, I know that I'm a sinner. I know that I won't probably have peace until you're in my heart, but I will not let you in my heart until you answer me, why? Why did you take my arms and legs? Why didn't you give me what everybody else has?" And I said, "God, until you answer me that question, I will not serve you." And so I wanted to end it. If God wasn't going to end my pain, I was going to end it myself. So at age 8, I tried to drown myself in a bathtub of 4 inches of water. I told my mum and dad, "I'm just going to relax in the bathtub. Can you put me in the bathtub?" And yeah, I turned over a couple times to see if I could do it. I couldn't do it. The thought that stopped me from going through with it was the love for my parents. Because I love them so much, and all they did was love me. And I thought to myself, if I actually went through with this, I pictured my funeral, I pictured my parents, and all I saw was guilt on their shoulders, that they couldn't have done more.
That would be the last time Nick would attempt suicide, but it wouldn't be the last time he would come face to face with those deep issues that made him want to end the pain.
And that's when I started seeing that there is no point in being complete on the outside when you're broken on the inside. And I found out that God can heal you without changing the circumstance.
What was it specifically for you that made you say, "Lord, I'm going to trust your word because I know it's true. I'm going to trust you even if I don't know what you have in store for me tomorrow"?
Right. Because there was nothing else I could find. Nothing else that could give me peace. I knew arms and legs wouldn't give me peace anyway, arms and legs alone. I needed to know the truth of who I am, why I'm here, and where I'm going when I'm not here. And I haven't found that truth anywhere else but in Jesus Christ.
And it was in Jesus Christ where Nick found the strength to do what many thought would be the impossible.
It's so hard to be strong when people constantly say, "You're not good enough, you know, go away, you know, we don't want anything to do with you. Nick, you're a nobody. Nick, you can't do this. Nick, you can't do that. Nick, 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 Nick." In life, if you don't know the truth, then you can't be free. Because then you'll believe that the lies are the truth. But once we realize that when we read the Word of God and you know the truth of who you are, I am not a man without arms and legs. I am a child of God. I am forgiven of my sins. I'm an ambassador of the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. I'm nothing but a servant of the Most High God. This is not about Nick. It's not about Nick's capacity and capability to become this conqueror. I am nothing. I'm nothing. God, though, lives in me. And I now live in his strength. And whatever Jesus conquered, I conquer. I believe if God doesn't give you a miracle, you are a miracle of God for somebody else's salvation. And I thank God that he didn't answer my prayer when I was begging him for arms and legs at age 8. Because guess what? Because I have no arms and no legs, he's using me all around the world. And we've seen so far, approximately, this is conservative, 200,000 souls come to Jesus Christ for the very first time in the last 6-7 years. And what would you rather? Would you rather have arms and legs, Nick, here on earth and no arms? No. Whatever his will is. Because I'd rather have no arms, no legs temporarily here on earth to be able to reach someone else for Jesus Christ and then spend eternity with them there.
In the last decade, Nick has shared his story in 24 countries to over 3 million people. And whether he's talking to a stadium packed with people or one single person, his heart behind the message is the same.
God loves you, that he hasn't forgotten your pain, he hasn't forgotten your family. And maybe while you're watching this interview, you've compared your suffering to my suffering. And that's not where hope is, to know that someone else, in your opinion, is suffering more than you. That's not where hope is. But hope is in the name of God, the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Hope is when you compare your suffering to the infinite, immeasurable love and grace of God. Isaiah 40, verse 31 says, "Those who wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings as eagles." I didn't need my circumstance to change. I don't need arms and legs. I need the wings of the Holy Spirit. And I'm flying because I know Jesus is holding me up. Don't give up on God, because God will not give up on you.
Sin el conocimiento de la verdad no hay verdadera libertad. Y Cristo es el camino, la verdad y la vida. Es muy fuerte este video, es muy claro y contundente, y de alguna manera nos manifiesta de dónde Nick saca todas las fuerzas para enfrentar una vida de discapacidad, una vida de limitación. No, para enfrentar una vida de entrega, una vida de amor, una vida de aquel que da testimonio del amor de Dios. Símbolo de la perfección de Dios, dice en uno de sus testimonios Nick. Eso es lo que soy. Y me siento agradecido porque gracias a mi propia limitación puedo darle al mundo algo que otros no pueden dar. Un testimonio desde el dolor, desde el sufrimiento, desde el sacrificio, de cómo Dios me ama, de cómo Dios nos abandona. Una constante en los programas, en los videos de Nick, es manifestar cómo no podemos comparar los sufrimientos, cómo no debemos comparar los sufrimientos, porque el sufrimiento mío es el peor, es el mío, es el dolor presente, y uno podría verlo y decir, yo no puedo imaginarme lo que sería de mí si no tuviera brazos y piernas, porque una cosa es escucharlo hablar, una cosa es escucharlo en una charla, otra cosa es pensar cuando va al baño, cuando necesita del otro. 4 personas están alrededor de él. Primero fueron sus papás, luego otros que lo acompañan día a día. Cuando pensamos eso nos abismamos y decimos, yo no podría vivir así, si yo me moriría. Y sin embargo, cada uno de los que está mirando este programa, me incluyo también, tenemos nuestros dolores, tenemos nuestras preocupaciones, tenemos nuestras limitaciones, y por ser nuestras son las más terribles. No hay que comparar los sufrimientos. Hay que unirnos en el amor y tener muy presente, dice Nick, que cuanto más uno sufra, más puede dar testimonio de esperanza a los otros que nos rodean, a los otros que nos necesitan. Sabiendo, como él decía sobre el final, que Dios nos ama y que son las alas de su espíritu las únicas que necesitamos para alcanzar nuestra felicidad. Vamos al siguiente video, le pedimos al director.
Thank you very much. Take a seat. G'day everybody, how are you? Before I start anything, I want to first of all thank you for the opportunity here to be a part of the Summer Conference 2006. For those of you who don't know me, my name is NIck Vujicic. I'm 23 years old, and today I want to share with you 3 main keys in my life that got me from a life without limbs to a life without limits. For those of you who do not know my story, I was born without arms and legs. There was no medical reason why this had happened. Today I just want to be real with you. I'm going to be in your face at times, and I'm not going to apologize for it, so buckle up. But before I do get into anything, I always love to share some funny experiences that I've had in my life. I love kids' reactions. Kids' reactions are fantastic. Like, I go to the shops and everybody just stares at me and stuff. You saw me in my wheelchair there on the DVD last night, and all the kids coming up and saying, "What happened?" And I go up and say, "Cigarettes." And stay away from those cigarettes. Anyway, I have a lot of funny stories, but I love to do quite a few hobbies of mine, like, you know, I jump in the pool and I actually float like a life jacket, as you've seen on the screen. I bob up and down like this, and then have my little motor down here and go brrr, like this. When I go to like public like pools and stuff, all you see is just head flowing across the water like this. and kids freak out. But I went to South Africa on our tour in 2005 in February and went to a water theme park, and for the first time I went down a water slide all by myself. I was very proud of myself. And obviously at the bottom of the slide there's a pool with people just chilling, just relaxing, chillaxing, you know what I'm saying? They're minding their own business, watching others come down the slide, and here I come, they're all looking at me, and I was so tempted to look at myself and go, what happened? Pretty cool. But look, the funniest story I can tell you is when I'm in a car, obviously you have no idea that I have no arms, no legs. You just see my beautiful, sexy face. And we're at the red lights, and this car pulls up next to us. This girl's looking at me. And I'm thinking, okay, let's have some fun here. So I look at her, and I get her attention, eye-to-eye contact, and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I actually get my seatbelt in my mouth, loosen the seatbelt, and in the car seat, just do this. You should have seen her face. She was like, you're freaking me out, man. Green light, quick, quick. One more trick before we get into my story. I have a phone up here. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to flick up my phone onto my shoulder. Now this does not happen the first time, but what happens when you fail? Very good. What happens when you fail? Very good. Can someone give me a sound for a ringing phone, please? Very good. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Here we go. I'm coming! Hey. Is that cool? Beautiful. Beautiful. I want you to write down 3 things for me, please. I want you to, first of all, write down the word perspective. Perspective. And the word after that, I want you to write underneath it, vision. And then underneath that, I want you to put choices. So perspective, vision, and choices. This is what I'm going to be speaking about. I'm going to be real with you and start from the beginning. I was born in a blessed country. I was born to parents with the support I needed. You see, when I was born, it was such a tragedy. It was such a great shock to everybody. We had ultrasounds done when Mum was pregnant with me. I was her firstborn. And my mum made sure that we had the best doctors in Melbourne. My mum was a nurse and delivered hundreds of babies before I was born. She knew exactly what to do and what not to do in her first pregnancy. Yet, having all these precautions, this happened. And anybody who saw me and saw my parents automatically thought that, hey, this is a bad thing. And I mean, for anyone to say that would be a good thing, that is not sane. That would be insane. To say that, hey, congratulations, your baby's born without arms and legs. It was such just a pause in their life where they couldn't breathe. They couldn't fathom. What kind of life is their firstborn son going to live? Without arms and legs, he can't even feed himself. He can't even dress himself. Doctor said I would never be able to stand up, let alone jump around. You know, I'm so thankful that they knew nothing until I was born. Because imagine if my parents did know, and they would have what? The option of abortion. And the majority of the doctors, I believe, would encourage such an act. Why? Because what we see in this child's life is not going to be a good quality lifestyle for you and your child. And the wisest thing you could do is abort. Well, hey, who knew? Who knew that I would become a 23-year-old professional motivational speaker, speaking to 1 million people all around the world, starting schools in third world countries, building hospitals in the future and orphanages and all that stuff. We sponsor 43 kids who don't have food, fresh fresh water and all that sort of stuff. And that's just the beginning. I'm a real estate investor. I'm a stock market investor. I love options trading. That's becoming one of my professions. I love real estate investing. I love the fact that we can make money doing real estate developing. Make our money, make more money. I love that fact. I love the fact, though, above all, that I can give the world something that others cannot. But before I tell you all that good stuff, let me tell you the more down times in my life. Obviously, it was difficult for my parents, but it was also difficult for me. When I went to school, a lot of kids teased me. A lot of kids put me down. It was very difficult at starters to find friends, because everybody would look at me and think, well, maybe he also has a mental disability, and then people don't know how to approach me. But my parents encouraged me to speak with people. And as I speak, a lot of people would say, well, hey, he's just like everybody else, just with a few parts missing. You know, I'm just like you. I've just gone out on the limb a couple more times than you have for my friends. But it's all good. But it was very difficult at times, and I had no one to tell me that everything's going to be okay the way I wanted it said. Because the way I wanted it said was, I wanted to be able to believe someone when they said, Nick, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. The problem is, if anyone did say that, even my parents at times, I would say, how do you know how it feels to be in my position? You don't even know the future. How can you say that I'm going to have a good life? You cannot. Last January, within 3 weeks, 3 of my family members died. January 2005, my uncle, my grandfather, and one of my cousins. The day after my grandfather was buried, my uncle, 53-year-old man, had a heart attack, died. 5 days before he died, he was at the doctor's and everything was fine. What can you tell me to encourage me? Can you tell me anything? Only if you've been through it. And this is what I'm here about. I want to tell you, I was depressed. I had suicidal thoughts at the age of 8. I had this massive list of all the things that I couldn't do and I'll never have in life. I never thought, you know, I'll get married. Who'd want a husband without arms and legs? And I thought, even if I ever did get married, I'm not going to be even able to hold my wife's hand. I'm not going to be able to dance with my bride on our wedding night. I used to hate going to public parks and seeing fathers throwing up their kids in the air and sometimes dropping them. You know, I won't have that intimacy with my sons and my daughters. I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. And no one had any answers. And I thought I was the only one in such a predicament. What happened? What changed? The first thing I got you to write down was perspective. How you see your life is the first key. Who are you? And where are you in life? This is the first question I want to ask you. Even though the world can look at me, they can say, well, a guy having no arms and no legs, his potential is not unlimited, but limited. His potential, just because he has no arms and no legs, humanly speaking, in our logic, he's not going to be as successful as everybody else. Really? Why? Because of his disability. Really? What is a disability? Have you ever thought of that? A disability. I'll tell you what a disability is. Something that would hinder you to achieve something. Now, just because I have no arms and no legs, it doesn't mean that I can't be successful. It doesn't mean that I can't, like I've done, a Bachelor of Commerce in Financial Planning and Accounting. That didn't stop me. Then what really stops you? Your mind. The way you see your life and where you are going will determine how successful you will be in life. I could say, yeah, I'm a guy without arms and legs, but what? I have my little chicken drumstick. Don't ask yourself and see what you don't have. See what you do have and then say, okay, this is where I am. But don't limit yourself to say, well, if only I had this or if only I had that. You can think of all the things that you don't have, but I want to ask you, is that really constructive? No. Why? Because no one can turn back time. It's up to you with what you do with today. Your priorities, your daily agenda will determine how successful you are. You want to know something? I started to be thankful. Thankful? Why, Nick? How could you be thankful? My mum read a newspaper article of a young man who had a disability, not similar to mine, but it was also unexplained medically. And I thought, you know what? I'm not the only one with something to bear. But I'm telling you, this perspective is everything. Giving yourself enough credit. Write this down. Give yourself credit. Even if the whole world told me that, Nick, you have no arms and no legs, you're not good enough, you're not going to reach your fullest potential, and even if you do, it's not going to be compared to anybody else's potential because you have no arms and no legs. Even if the whole world has that discouragement on you or their view on you, you don't have to believe them. You get it? You don't have to believe others' opinions. Because it's just an opinion. If a doctor comes to you and says, hey, I'm sorry, you've got cancer. What are you going to do? Get a second opinion. Right? Why? Because you want to make sure that he's right. You want to know exactly how much you live and what's going on. Well, why not get a second opinion when people put you down? Why not get a second opinion when your family thinks you're dreaming? Tell him he's dreaming. I wouldn't change anything about this. I don't see this as a disability. I see it as a gift. Do you want to know why? It gives me the greatest joy to know that I may not have arms and legs, but I can give teenagers who are trying to commit suicide. I've seen it, slashing their wrists, taking pills, ODing, everything, because the world is looking for hope. And I wouldn't change a thing because I can give them that. This is just the beginning. I'm only 23. I'm only 23. First thing, be thankful. Know where you are. Now when you establish where you are in life and who you are in life and you give yourself a little bit of credit, do you know how I gave myself credit when I was 7 years old? Check this out. I just remembered this last week. Some people at school were teasing me for how I looked. I looked at myself in the mirror. I said, yep, I don't have arms and legs. They're right. But I said, look at my eyes. I told myself, look at your eyes. You got beautiful eyes, young man. I said, you are hot. I said, no one can take that away from you. Your eyes. If it's only your eyes that you can concentrate on, then concentrate on that. Do you get the message? If you find one positive thing about your life that no one can argue with, then hang on to that and go from there. Now, where are we going? Once you establish where you are and hang on to the positive things, the assets that you have, then expand on that. Stop thinking of what missed opportunities are out there. Because then you'll miss more. Where are you going? Vision. Vision. What is your vision? Everybody here today has come to the conference so that you might be better equipped to live your life to its fullest potential. In some way or another. Finances. Sure. Great. Wonderful. I have a business mind. I love trading options. You have no idea. It's one of my hobbies, but it's the income for me. And I love it. And wherever your goal is, let it be. But let me tell you something scary about your fullest potential. The day you believe you reached your fullest potential is the day you haven't. Write that down. The day you believe you've reached your fullest potential is the day you have not. Because you still have today. You and I know that we can make choices to either better our life or put our life in a worse position? Where are you going? Is it big? Zig Ziglar says, aim your goals and dreams to the heavens, so if they miss, they're still up there with the stars. I'm dreaming big. You have visions. You have goals. I want to tell you something very exciting. I can tell you right now, I'm actually going on Oprah Winfrey's show. How awesome is that? She just doesn't know about it yet. Why not? The only limits I have in my life are the limits I put on me. Or on myself. I want to live a life with no limits. Visions beyond comprehension. Another vision I'll share with you. I'm going to be starring in a big screen cinema movie. It's going to inspire millions around the globe. No, we haven't started. No, we don't have cameramen. No, we don't have a script. But it's coming. Not in my time, but it's coming. I want it now, but it's coming. You want the diamond now, but it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. If you keep on going forward. It's simple. Really simple, right? See this phone? If I want to get to the phone's not going to move. The diamond's not going to come to you. You're going to go to the diamond. I'm going to go to the phone. It's going to come as long as I keep on moving forward in baby steps. It's not like I'm going to, start meditating and going hum and start floating, right? And then go across. No, I've got to go one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. Vision. Reaching your fullest potential. That's what I want. Isn't that what you want? Yes. Yes. But how lazy are we? How lazy are we? I'll tell you, I got the biggest vision. I'm writing a book called No Arms, No Legs, No Worries. I love that title. But the thing is, the book's not going to be written until I write it. Does that make sense? I have to write it. But not yet. Write this down. Do not put off the things that you can do today. Stop procrastinating. But with that, we're all guilty of that. If you're not guilty of that, you're special. Because I believe I'm guilty of it, and a lot of people are. I'm a procrastinator. But if that's what you value so much, you will automatically have that motivation. Well, I had that motivation, Nick. Nick, you wanted to write your book at age 19. I can tell you, yes, I did. 4 years have passed. I did 4 chapters. And then I read it, I'm like, that's crap. Let's start again. I've got nothing now. But you know what I realized? Imagine if my book was written when I was 19. How much have I changed in the last 4 years? How much more do I know? How many more experiences will I be able to share with the world when we sell millions of copies of No Arms, No Legs, and No Worries? There's a perfect time for everything. Not now, but it's coming. Perspective, vision, and choice. Thank you.
Difícil agregar algo a todo lo que pudimos escuchar y compartir en estos 20 minutos que se pasaron tan rápidamente escuchando a Nick. Habló de todo, habló del aborto, habló de la vida, habló de la esperanza, habló de la desvalorización personal, habló acerca de cómo la forma en que veamos nuestra vida, dónde estemos parados, está nuestra visión, la perspectiva que tengamos y la verdadera libertad, la libertad de optar ante los hechos que nos tocan vivir, la actitud a tomar ante los hechos que nos tocan vivir, aparecieron a lo largo de estos 20 minutos que nos dejan sin palabras a aquellos que ya lo hemos escuchado más de una vez, imagino a aquellos que por primera vez escuchan su mensaje. Un mensaje sostenido, como decíamos en el video anterior, en el amor de un Dios. Un mensaje que llega muchísimo al hombre de hoy, que vive muchas veces rodeado de la oscuridad. El último videíto que vamos a pasar es una canción. Hace poco lo escuché por primera vez. Es raro encontrarlo, pero aparece Nick cantando en él. Tengan en cuenta los televidentes que todos estos videos ustedes los pueden compartir de YouTube, como siempre hacemos, o de mi blog, profjosemariaguerre.blogspot.com, o simplemente pongan José María Guerre en Google y los va a llevar a mi blog. Y allí en el blog podrán encontrar todos estos videos o los programas de Todos los Caminos, entre los cuales se destaca esta canción. Esta canción es la acción de Nick sobre otros. Es una mirada de Nick acerca de 4 personas tan comunes en nuestro tiempo que van a ir sucediéndose a lo largo de la canción, muy breve. Una mujer que se pelea con su novio, amante, esposo y queda sola y piensa en suicidarse. Una joven que está con su bebé en brazos y se acerca al mar tal vez para quitarse la vida, tal vez arrepentida de haberlo hecho nacer. Un hombre que vive en la calle, en plena pobreza, y mira la foto de su familia perdida. Un joven, como tantos hay entre nosotros, que se siente solo y excluido. Los 4 se acercan al mar en una noche pensando en partir, pensando en dejar atrás esta existencia que más de una vez se nos presenta como ausente de sentido, como carente de sentido. Y es en ese momento más oscuro donde aparece Nick, un Nick que iba mirando todo lo que acontecía a su alrededor, un Nick que en el momento más oscuro del video recuerda cuando él también quiso partir, cuando él también quiso suicidarse y se arroja al mar, ahora ya no para morir, sino para dar la vida por los otros, para convertirse en un motivo, una posibilidad de salvación de los otros. Es realmente un video impresionante donde vemos la cara de dolor de Nick y no nos podemos olvidar de que él es el que sufre y nosotros también, pero sostenidos por ese algo más que va a aparecer en la canción, sostenidos por ese Dios, sostenido por esta madre que me acompaña en el programa de hoy. No podemos fallar, no podemos flaquear, no podemos dejar de ser, como le gustaría decir a él, vencedores. Le pedimos al director el último video del programa de hoy.
Where do we go when hope runs out? When we're empty? When there's nothing left?
Sometimes I get so tired, just trying to find a place to lay my head. I look up to the sky, I feel the warmest light comfort me. I've seen the great heights, reminding me I'm alive. I don't wanna die, I don't wanna waste another day or night. I know there's something more than what we're living for. I see it in the stars, I feel it on the shore. I know there's something. Alone seen the great heights, reminding me I'm alive. I don't wanna die, I don't wanna waste another day or night. I know there's something more than what we're living for. I see it in the stars, I feel it on the shore. I know there's something this world may crumble into the ocean. It could all end tonight. I undermine you, then try to find you, my only source of life.
When I was 10 years old, I tried to commit suicide. I had lost my hope. I tried to drown myself, but I couldn't do it. God had a plan for my life, to give hope to other people through my story.
I know there's something more. I don't wanna die, I don't wanna waste another day or night. I know there's something more than what we're living for. I see it in the stars, I feel it on the shore. I know there's something more. I don't wanna die, I don't wanna waste another day or night. I know there's something more than what we're living for. I see it in the stars, I feel it on the shore. I know there's something more. I don't wanna die, wanna waste another day or night. I know there's something more than what we're living for. I see it in the stars, I feel it on the shore. I know there's something more. I know there's something.
haciendo nuestra también la expresión de este video, en la cual de alguna manera vemos como alguien ha convertido en un regalo de Dios, ha convertido en un símbolo de perfección de Dios aquella limitación y se ha entregado totalmente a los demás. Nos despedimos por todos los caminos. Le pedimos a María que los acompañe, que los proteja, a nuestra Madre, y tenemos la plena certeza que si Dios está con nosotros, como dice San Pablo, ¿quién contra nosotros? En la esperanza y en la hermandad que nos da el ser hijos de Dios, nos despedimos en el programa de hoy. Muchísimas gracias.